Greeting, my dear ones. You see, in this world, people are always trying to place value on things, on objects, on achievements, and even on people. But the question is, who decides this value? Society, social media, other people's opinions? If you allow others to determine your worth, you will always be a slave to their expectations. The real question is not about being high value in someone else's eyes, but rather, have you become a person of substance within yourself? A truly valuable woman is not seeking validation. She is radiating something so powerful that the world cannot help but take notice. So if you wish to become such a woman, it is not about external factors. It is about the inner nature of who you are. Let's look at 6 fundamental aspects that make a woman truly valuable, not by someone else's judgment, but by her own undeniable presence. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control things outside of them. They want to control how others see them, what people think about them, and what happens in their relationships, careers, and surroundings. But the real power is not in controlling the outside world. It is in mastering what happens within you. If you do not have control over your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions, then no amount of success or external achievement will ever bring you peace. Right now, if something happens that you do not like, you feel disturbed. If someone says something unpleasant to you, your entire mood changes. If things do not go the way you expect, frustration builds up inside you. This means your inner world is controlled by outside situations. A truly powerful person is one who is steady no matter what is happening around them. When you become like this, you naturally stand out. People sense that you are different, that you are not shaken by small things, that you are at ease with yourself. This is what makes a person valuable. Not their looks, not their money, not their status, but the fact that they have mastery over themselves. So how do you achieve this? First, you must understand that your mind is constantly running. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, thoughts keep coming. Many of these thoughts are repetitive, unnecessary, and even harmful. Some people live their whole lives without ever realizing that they can choose how to respond to their own thoughts. But if you watch your mind closely, you will see that not every thought deserves your attention. Some thoughts come from past experiences, some from fears, and some are just noise. If you believe every thought, you will live in confusion. But if you learn to step back and simply observe, you will see that thoughts are just passing clouds. They come and go, but you do not have to follow them. Similarly, emotions rise and fall within you. Happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, these are not permanent states. But many people become trapped in their emotions. If they feel sad, they think something is wrong. If they feel angry, they believe they must react. But an emotion is just energy in motion. If you sit with it without reacting, it will pass. The problem is most people do not have patience. The moment a difficult emotion comes, they look for distractions. They scroll through their phones, watch TV, eat something, or find someone to blame. But true mastery comes when you can simply sit with whatever arises inside you without needing to run away from it. When you do this, you become free. Another important aspect of mastering your inner world is understanding that you are not your past. Many people are stuck in old stories. Something bad happened to them and they carry it for years, sometimes even a lifetime. They allow past pain to shape who they are today. But if you are always looking at the past, how can you move forward? If you want to be truly valuable, you must learn to release the things that no longer serve you. This does not mean ignoring your experiences, but rather learning from them and letting them go. You cannot change what has happened, but you can decide what you carry with you. One way to gain control over your inner world is through awareness. Most people live on autopilot. They react to things without thinking, they follow emotions without questioning, and they allow the external world to dictate their internal state. But when you become aware, you create space between what happens and how you respond. Instead of getting angry immediately, you notice the anger rising inside you. Instead of feeling anxious and letting it take over, you observe it. The moment you become aware of something, it loses its grip over you. It does not mean emotions disappear, but they no longer control you. Another powerful tool is stillness. In today's world, people are always busy, always running from one thing to the next, but true power comes in moments of stillness. If you can sit quietly even for a few minutes each day and simply observe your thoughts and emotions without reacting, you will start to see how much unnecessary movement is happening inside you. The more still you become, the more clarity you will have. When your mind is calm, your actions become powerful. When your emotions are steady, your presence becomes magnetic. Many people think power comes from speaking loudly, being aggressive, or proving themselves to others. But true power is silent. It is the ability to walk into a room and bring a sense of calm. It is the ability to remain peaceful even when everything around you is chaotic. When you master your inner world, you do not have to demand respect. People will naturally respect you. You do not have to seek validation. Your presence alone will be enough. Another important aspect of this journey is self-discipline. Many people know what they should do, but they do not do it. They know they should take care of their health, but they do not. They know they should stop overthinking, but they allow their minds to run wild. They know they should stay away from toxic relationships, but they keep going back. Without discipline, there is no mastery. Discipline does not mean forcing yourself into it simply means choosing what is best for you, even when it is not easy. If you want to have control over your life, you must first have control over yourself. This also means being mindful of what you consume. Everything you take in, what you read, what you watch, the people you surround yourself with, all of it affects your inner world. If you spend your time in negativity, gossip, and meaningless distractions, your mind will be filled with clutter. But if you choose to engage with things that uplift and expand you, your inner world will reflect that. A high-value woman is one who is conscious of what she allows into her space. She does not waste her energy on things that do not serve her growth. One of the greatest signs that you are mastering your inner world is that external situations no longer shake you as they once did. This does not mean you will never feel pain or disappointment, but instead of being overwhelmed by them, you will handle them with wisdom. Instead of reacting impulsively, you will respond with awareness. And instead of needing the world to be a certain way for you to be happy, you will create your own peace from within. People often think happiness comes from achieving something, getting a better job, finding the right partner, reaching a certain status. But these things can only bring temporary satisfaction. True happiness is when you are at peace with yourself, no matter where you are in life. When you master your inner world, you do not need to chase happiness. It becomes your natural state. So if you want to be truly valuable, do not focus on impressing others. Do not focus on chasing status or recognition. Focus on mastering yourself. Learn to observe your mind instead of being controlled by it. Learn to sit with your emotions instead of running from them. Learn to be still in a world that is always moving. When you do this, you will become a person of depth, clarity, and strength. And when you reach that state, you will not need to seek value. Your presence alone will make you invaluable. In today's world, people believe they must push hard, fight, and prove themselves to gain respect and recognition. Many think strength comes from being loud, aggressive, or forceful. But real strength does not need to shout. It does not need to control or dominate. True strength is quiet, yet undeniable. It is like a river that flows gently but can carve through mountains. It is like the breeze that is soft but carries the scent of flowers for miles. This kind of strength is what we call grace, an effortless way of being that draws people in, not by force but by its very nature. Many misunderstand grace as weakness. They think if you are gentle, you will be taken advantage of. They think if you are kind, you will be seen as weak. But true grace is not about being passive. It is about knowing your power so deeply that you do not need to prove it. A person with grace moves through the world with a certain ease. They do not chase, they do not force, they do not struggle to be seen, and yet their presence is felt. Look at nature. The most beautiful things are not trying to impress anyone. A tree does not struggle to grow, it simply grows. The sun does not demand attention, it shines. The ocean does not chase people, it just is, and yet people are drawn to it. In the same way, when a person carries grace, they do not need to force their way into anything. Opportunities, relationships, and respect naturally flow toward them. But how do you reach this state? First, you must understand that grace comes from inner balance. A person who is constantly struggling within themselves cannot radiate grace. If you are always fighting your own thoughts, if you are filled with insecurities, if you are trying too hard to be someone else, you will always feel tense. And this tension will show in how you walk, how you talk, how you interact with others. People may not always be able to explain it, but they can sense it. Grace comes when you are at ease with yourself. When you accept who you are, you stop trying to prove yourself. You no longer feel the need to compete with others. You do not rush to speak just to be heard. You do not act out of fear or insecurity. Instead, you move with confidence, not the kind of confidence that comes from arrogance, but the kind that comes from deep self-awareness. When you truly know yourself, you do not have to force anything. Your presence alone will be enough. Another aspect of grace is the ability to remain calm in difficult situations. Life will always bring challenges. People will say things that upset you. Situations will not always go your way, but how you respond is what matters. A person with grace does not react impulsively. They do not let anger or frustration take control. They pause, they observe, and then they respond in a way that brings peace, not more chaos. This does not mean you suppress your emotions. It does not mean you allow people to walk all over you. It simply means you choose your responses wisely. When you are graceful, even when you set boundaries, you do it in a way that is firm but not harsh. You do not need to shout or threaten. You do not need to demand respect. Your very energy commands it. Grace also means carrying yourself with a sense of dignity. This does not mean being stiff or overly serious. It means knowing your worth and behaving in a way that reflects that worth. It means speaking with kindness but also with clarity. It means walking with confidence but not arrogance. It means treating others with respect no matter who they are. A person who is truly graceful does not change their behavior based on who is watching. They remain the same, whether they are speaking to a stranger, a friend, or someone of great power. To cultivate grace, you must also learn to let go of unnecessary struggle. Many people spend their lives trying to force things to happen. They chase after relationships, they try too hard to impress others, they push themselves beyond their limits in an attempt to prove something. But true grace is about trusting the flow of life. It is about knowing that what is meant for you will come and what is not meant for you will leave. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you put in your effort but do not fight against the natural rhythm of life. Think of a dancer. A great dancer does not force their movements. They move in harmony with the music. They do not struggle against it, they flow with it. In the same way, a graceful person moves with life, not against it. They do what they need to do, but they do not cling, they do not resist unnecessarily, and they do not waste their energy on things beyond their control. Another quality of grace is knowing when to be silent. Not every situation requires reaction. Not every insult needs a response. Not every challenge needs a battle. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply remain still. When you are always reacting, always defending yourself, always explaining, you are giving away your energy. But when you choose silence, when you choose to walk away from things that do not serve you, you gain power. A person who has mastered grace is not easily shaken. They may face difficulties, but they do not crumble. They may experience heartbreak, but they do not become bitter. They may be challenged, but they do not lose themselves in the struggle. There is a steadiness in them, a sense of trust in life, and an unshakable belief in their own strength. This kind of grace is rare because most people are too busy trying to force their way through life. But if you cultivate this within yourself, you will stand out, not because you are loud, not because you demand attention, but because your presence alone will make an impact. People will feel safe around you. They will feel drawn to your energy. They will respect you without you ever having to ask for it. So if you want to be truly valuable, do not focus on force, do not chase, do not struggle, do not push too hard. Instead, cultivate grace. Work on your inner peace, learn to trust yourself, move through life with a sense of ease. When you do this, you will find that the things you once struggled for will come to you naturally. Because the world is always drawn to those who carry themselves with effortless grace. From the time we are children, we are taught to seek approval. When we do something good, we are praised. When we make a mistake, we are corrected. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin to depend on the opinions of others to feel good about ourselves. We start looking for approval in everything we do. We want our parents to be proud, our teachers to be impressed, our friends to accept us, and society to recognize our worth. This need for approval follows us into adulthood. We try to fit into certain standards, follow trends, and shape our personalities based on what others expect from us. We measure our success by how many people admire us, how much attention we receive, and how well we are accepted. But in this constant search for approval, we lose ourselves. We forget who we really are because we are too busy trying to be what others want us to be. The truth is, no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to please everyone. If you speak softly, some will say you are weak. If you speak strongly, others will say you are too aggressive. If you follow the rules, people will call you boring. If you break the rules, they will call you reckless. No matter what you do, there will always be someone who disapproves. So why waste your life trying to win the approval of others? When you live for approval, you are not truly living for yourself. Every decision you make is based on how others will perceive it. You choose a career not because it fulfills you, but because it looks impressive. You dress in a certain way, not because you like it, but because it is accepted by others. You hold back your thoughts and feelings because you fear being judged. Slowly, you become a version of yourself that is shaped by the expectations of those around you. But what happens when the people you are trying to impress are no longer there? What happens when their opinions change? If your happiness depends on their approval, then you will always be at their mercy. The need for approval creates fear. It makes you afraid of being criticized. It makes you afraid of standing out. It makes you afraid of making mistakes. Instead of following your own path, you hesitate. Instead of speaking your truth, you remain silent. Instead of taking risks, you stay in your comfort zone. But a life lived in fear is not a life fully lived. If you are always looking for approval, you will never be free. Freedom comes when you stop seeking validation from others. When you stop worrying about what people think, you become unstoppable. You start making choices based on what feels right for you, not based on how others will react. You express yourself fully without hesitation. You take chances knowing that even if you fail, it does not define you. When you stop looking for approval, you find a deep sense of self-worth that does not change based on outside opinions. Letting go of approval does not mean you stop caring about people. It does not mean you become rude or indifferent. It simply means you no longer let their opinions control your life. You respect others, but you do not depend on their validation. You listen to advice, but you do not let it dictate your decisions. You accept that not everyone will agree with you, and that is perfectly fine. One of the most powerful things you can do is learn to trust yourself. If you always need others to tell you that you are good enough, smart enough, or talented enough, then you will always be dependent on them. But when you believe in yourself, when you know your worth from within, you become free. You do not need constant reassurance. You do not need to be liked by everyone. You are enough as you are. People who have truly made an impact in the world did not do so by seeking approval. They followed their own path even when others doubted them. They believed in themselves even when people criticized them. If they had waited for the world's approval, they would have never achieved anything. The same is true for you. If you keep waiting for permission to be yourself, you will never fully step into your power. Some people will not understand you, some will judge you, some will walk away, but this is not a loss. It is a blessing. The right people, the ones who truly matter, will accept you for who you are, and when you stop seeking approval, you will attract people who respect you, not for what you do to please them, but for who you genuinely are. It takes courage to break free from the need for approval. It requires you to stand firm in your beliefs even when others disagree. It requires you to follow your dreams even when people doubt you. It requires you to speak your truth even when it makes others uncomfortable. But the reward is worth it, because when you no longer need approval, you gain something far more valuable: self-respect, inner peace, and true freedom. So stop looking outside for validation. Stop waiting for permission to be yourself. Stop trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. Live your truth, follow your path, and trust that you are enough, exactly as you are. When you do this, you will not need approval from anyone, because you will have already given it to yourself. In today's world, there is so much focus on looking good. Everywhere you turn, there are people telling you how to dress, how to do your makeup, how to stay young, and how to fit into a certain standard of beauty. Social media is filled with pictures of perfect faces, perfect bodies, and perfect lives. Because of this, many people believe that beauty is the most important thing. They spend hours trying to look a certain way, hoping that if they look beautiful enough, they will be loved, respected, and valued. But beauty alone is not enough. It may attract attention, but it does not hold it. It may impress people for a moment, but it does not make them stay. If all you have is beauty, but there is nothing deeper, people will lose interest. More importantly, you will feel empty inside because deep down, we all want to be more than just something nice to look at. We want to be understood. We want to be valued for who we are, not just for how we appear. When a person has depth, they bring something meaningful into the world. They have wisdom, kindness, and strength. They are not just a beautiful face, they are a person who can inspire, uplift, and make a real difference. A person with depth knows who they are beyond their looks. They do not need to constantly seek attention because they are secure in themselves. They do not fear aging because they know their worth is not tied to how young they look. They do not need to compete with others because they have something unique to offer that goes beyond the surface. Cultivating depth means developing your mind, your heart, and your spirit. It means being curious about the world and always seeking to learn. Many people spend hours every day perfecting their outward appearance, but how much time do they spend growing their inner world? How much time do they spend reading, thinking, or understanding life on a deeper level? Just as you take care of your body, you must also take care of your mind. A sharp, intelligent, and thoughtful mind is far more attractive than just a pretty face. Beauty may catch the eye, but intelligence and wisdom capture the heart. Depth also comes from emotional strength. Life is not always easy. There will be challenges, disappointments, and painful experiences. If all you focus on is your outward beauty, you will struggle to handle life's difficulties. But if you have inner strength, you will be able to face any situation with grace and wisdom. A person with depth does not fall apart over small things. They do not get lost in meaningless drama. They do not seek approval from others because they know their own worth. A deep person also has a kind and compassionate heart. Many people are so focused on themselves that they forget to care about others. But true beauty is found in kindness. A person who can truly listen, who can understand others, and who can offer love and support is far more valuable than someone who is just physically attractive. When you cultivate kindness, you become someone people want to be around, not because of how you look, but because of how you make them feel. Depth also comes from self-awareness. Many people do not truly know themselves. They live their lives based on what others expect from them. They follow trends, copy what they see, and never take the time to ask themselves, who am I? What do I truly want? But a person with depth takes the time to understand themselves. They know their values, their dreams, and their purpose. They do not just go through life on autopilot. They live with intention. Having depth also means being able to have meaningful conversation. Many people only talk about shallow things. Fashion, gossip, trends. But a person with depth can talk about ideas, emotions, and life itself. They can hold deep conversations that make others think and feel inspired. They do not just follow the crowd. They have their own thoughts, their own perspectives, and their own unique voice. Another sign of depth is the ability to be alone without feeling lonely. Many people constantly need attention and validation. They feel empty when they are not being admired. But a person with depth enjoys their own company. They do not need to be surrounded by people all the time to feel worthy. They are comfortable being alone because they have built a rich inner world. They read, they reflect, they create, and they grow. They do not depend on others to feel whole. A truly deep person is also not afraid of imperfection. Many people try so hard to appear flawless, but perfection is not real. No one is perfect. A person with depth embraces their flaws and understands that real beauty is not about looking perfect. It is about being authentic. They do not try to hide their true selves behind a mask. They are open, real, and honest. A person with depth also has a sense of purpose. They do not just exist, they contribute. They use their time and energy to do something meaningful. It does not mean they have to do something grand or world-changing. It can be as simple as being a good friend, helping someone in need, or sharing their knowledge and wisdom. They live with intention and make the world a little better just by being in it. Depth is rare because it requires effort. It requires you to look beyond the surface and invest in your inner self. But the rewards are great. When you cultivate depth, you attract the right people into your life. People who appreciate you for who you are, not just for how you look. You build relationships that are real and lasting. You become someone who leaves an impact not because of your appearance, but because of the depth of your mind and the warmth of your heart. So do not just focus on your outer beauty. Take care of your mind, your heart, and your soul. Read, learn, grow, and reflect. Be kind, be wise, and be strong. Do not just follow trends. Think for yourself. Do not just seek attention, seek meaning. When you do this, you will not only be beautiful on the outside, but you will also have something far more valuable, a beauty that shines from within and lasts a lifetime. In the world today, everything moves fast. People rush from one thing to another, always busy, always chasing something. There is so much noise, so many distractions, and so many things demanding attention. In this constant movement, most people forget what it means to be still. They think strength comes from doing more, speaking louder, and pushing harder. But real strength is not about how much you do, it is about how deeply you are rooted in yourself. Stillness does not mean doing nothing. It does not mean being lazy or indifferent. True stillness is a state of being where you are fully present, fully aware, and fully in control of yourself. A person who embodies stillness does not react to every little thing. They do not let the chaos of the world shake them. They do not waste their energy on things that do not matter. Their mind is calm, their emotions are steady, and their actions are purposeful. This is true strength, not the kind that comes from force, but the kind that comes from deep inner stability. Many people mistake stillness for weakness. They think if you are quiet, you are passive. They think if you do not react immediately, you do not care. But the strongest people are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are the ones who can remain steady even when the world around them is shaking. They do not let their emotions control them. They do not let external events decide their state of mind. They move through life with grace and confidence, unaffected by the storms around them. Imagine a tree standing tall in the middle of a storm. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, but the tree remains rooted. It does not panic, it does not break, it simply stands strong and steady. This is what it means to embody stillness and strength. No matter what happens, you remain grounded. You do not let fear, anger, or anxiety control you. You do not let other people's words or actions shake your confidence. You move with a quiet power that does not need to prove itself. But how do you develop this kind of stillness? It begins with awareness. Most people go through life reacting to everything. If someone says something negative, they get angry. If something does not go their way, they feel frustrated. Their emotions rise and fall with every situation. But a person who embodies stillness does not react so easily. They take a moment, they breathe, they observe. They do not allow small things to disturb their inner peace. They respond with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. Stillness also comes from knowing yourself. When you do not know who you are easily influenced by the world around you. You try to fit in, you seek approval, you follow trends, but when you truly know yourself, you do not need validation from others. You do not need to constantly prove your worth. You are content with who you are, and that contentment brings a deep sense of peace. Another part of stillness is learning to let go. Many people carry unnecessary burdens. They hold on to past mistakes, worries about the future, and resentment toward others. But all of these things create chaos in the mind. A person who is truly strong does not cling to negativity. They understand that life moves forward and they move with it. They release what no longer serves them. They forgive, not because others deserve it, but because they deserve peace. They focus on what they can control and let go of what they cannot. Stillness also requires patience. In a world that rewards speed, patience is rare. People want instant results, quick success, and immediate answers. But true strength comes from knowing that some things take time. A strong person does not rush. They trust the process, they put in the effort, and allow things to unfold naturally. They do not force situations, they align themselves with life's natural rhythm. Strength also comes from discipline. Many people give in to distractions, impulses, and momentary desires. They lack control over their thoughts and actions. But a person who embodies stillness has discipline. They do not allow distractions to pull them away from their purpose. They do not waste energy on things that do not matter. They focus their mind, their energy, and their time on what is truly important. This self-control is what makes them powerful. Stillness is also about presence. Many people are physically present, but mentally elsewhere. Their minds are filled with worries, regrets, and endless thoughts. But a person who is truly strong is fully present in each moment. They listen deeply when others speak. They give their full attention to whatever they are doing. They are not lost in the past or the future. They are here now. This presence gives them clarity and allows them to make better decisions. Another aspect of stillness is the ability to remain calm under pressure. Life will test you. There will be moments of uncertainty, failure, and difficulty. But how you respond in these moments defines your strength. The person who embodies stillness does not panic. They do not make impulsive decisions out of fear. They take a deep breath, assess the situation, and move forward with confidence. They trust themselves, and because of this trust, they are able to handle challenges with grace. Stillness also brings wisdom. When your mind is constantly racing, you cannot think clearly. But when you learn to be still, your mind becomes sharp. You are able to see situations from a higher perspective. You do not get lost in small dramas. You understand what truly matters. This wisdom allows you to navigate life with ease and make decisions that align with your purpose. A person who embodies stillness and strength does not seek attention. They do not need to be the loudest in the room. Their presence alone is enough to command respect. People feel safe around them because they radiate calmness. They do not create unnecessary problems. They bring solutions. They do not add to the noise. They bring clarity. This kind of strength is rare. Most people are caught up in the rush of life, reacting to everything, constantly seeking external validation. But when you cultivate stillness, you rise above this chaos. You become someone who is steady, wise, and unshakable. You do not let the outside world disturb your inner peace. You move with intention, you act with wisdom, and you carry yourself with quiet confidence. Stillness and strength are not about doing more. They are about being more present, more aware, more in control of yourself. When you embody this, you do not need to chase anything. The right people, opportunities, and experiences naturally come to you because your energy is strong and stable. So stop running, stop reacting, stop allowing the noise of the world to disturb your peace. Learn to be still. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to move with grace and strength. When you do this, you will no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You will simply be, and that will be enough. Many people go through life thinking only about themselves. They focus on their own desires, their own success, and their own happiness. They believe that if they can get everything they want, they will feel complete. But no matter how much they achieve, no matter how much they collect, something always feels missing. This is because life is not meant to be lived only for oneself. There is a deep joy and fulfillment that comes from serving something greater than yourself. When you only think about yourself, your world becomes very small. Every decision is based on personal gain. Every action is measured by how much it benefits you. But when you start thinking beyond yourself, something shifts. You begin to see that life is not just about taking, it is about giving. It is about contributing to something meaningful, something that extends beyond your own needs. Serving something greater does not mean you have to do something grand or extraordinary. It does not mean you must change the whole world or be known by many people. It simply means that you align your life with a purpose that goes beyond your personal desires. It means that your actions bring value not only to yourself but to others as well. There are many ways to serve a greater purpose. Some people dedicate their lives to helping others through charity, education, or social work. Some serve by creating art, music, or literature that inspires and uplifts people. Others serve by simply being a source of kindness, wisdom, and love in their daily lives. Every small act of service contributes to something bigger. When you shift your focus from what can I get to what can I give, you begin to experience a new kind of fulfillment. Personal success can bring happiness for a moment, but serving a greater purpose brings deep satisfaction that lasts. It gives your life meaning beyond material achievements. Many people spend their lives chasing wealth, power, or recognition, only to find that these things do not bring real happiness. They reach a point where they have everything they thought they wanted, yet they still feel empty. This is because true fulfillment does not come from what you collect for yourself, it comes from what you contribute to the world. When you serve something greater, you stop feeling like life is just about survival or competition. You stop seeing others as threats or obstacles. Instead, you begin to see that we are all connected, that every person has value, and that by lifting others, you also rise. There is a deep strength in service. It makes you resilient because you are no longer just living for yourself. When your purpose is greater than your personal comfort, you find the strength to keep going even in difficult times. You become less affected by small problems because you are focused on something bigger. Serving something greater also brings a sense of peace. Many people feel restless because they are always looking for something to satisfy them. They move from one goal to the next, always hoping that the next achievement will finally make them happy. But when you serve a greater purpose, you no longer feel this constant need to chase something. You feel content because you know that your life has meaning beyond personal success. When you live only for yourself, it is easy to feel lost. Small problems feel big and life can seem meaningless. But when you dedicate yourself to something beyond your own needs, you always have a direction. You wake up each day knowing that your actions matter. You feel connected to something bigger than yourself, something that gives your life depth and significance. One of the most powerful things about serving a greater purpose is that it makes you forget yourself in the best possible way. Many people spend too much time thinking about their own problems, their own insecurities, their own desires. This constant focus on oneself can create anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. But when you shift your attention to helping others, to contributing to something meaningful, your worries become smaller, you stop overthinking, you stop feeling trapped in your own mind, you experience freedom because you are no longer the center of your world. Serving something greater does not mean sacrificing your own happiness. In fact, it is the path to true happiness. The most joyful people are not those who have the most, but those who give the most. When you live with purpose, when you dedicate your life to something meaningful, you feel a deep sense of fulfillment that cannot be found in material things. Some people hesitate to serve a greater purpose because they believe they must first achieve personal success. They think, once I have enough money, once I have enough time, once I have achieved my goals, then I will give back. But the truth is, you do not need to wait. You can start serving today in small ways. You can bring kindness to those around you. You can share your knowledge, your time, your support. You can uplift others with your words, your actions, and your presence. Every small act of service creates a ripple effect that reaches far beyond what you can see. Serving something greater also connects you with others in a meaningful way. Many people feel lonely or disconnected because they live only for themselves. But when you serve, you create real connections. You build relationships based on purpose and shared values. You become part of something bigger than yourself. When you look at history, the people who are remembered, the people who truly made an impact, are those who served something greater. They did not just chase personal success, they contributed to something meaningful. Their lives were not just about what they achieved for themselves, but about how they helped others, how they inspired change, how they left the world better than they found it. You do not have to be famous or powerful to serve something greater. You do not need wealth or special skills. All you need is a willingness to give, to contribute, to make a difference in whatever way you can. Whether it is through your work, your relationships, or your daily actions, you have the power to bring value to the world. When you serve a greater purpose, you become someone people respect, not because of what you own or what you have achieved, but because of the impact you make. You inspire others, not by your words alone, but by the way you live. Your life becomes a source of strength and positivity for those around you. Living only for yourself is a small way to live. But when you serve something greater, your life expands. You feel a deep sense of purpose. You wake up each day with a reason to move forward. You find meaning in the smallest actions. You become part of something that continues beyond you. So do not wait. Do not think you need to be perfect or successful before you can contribute. Find something that speaks to your heart, something that gives you a sense of purpose, and start serving today. When you do, you will realize that true strength, true joy, and true fulfillment do not come from what you take, but from what you give. In the end, being a high-value woman is not about how you look, what you own, or how others see you. It is about how deeply you know yourself, how calmly you move through life, and how much value you bring to the world. It is about inner strength, quiet confidence, and a sense of purpose that goes beyond personal gain. When you master your inner world, you stop being controlled by emotions and external situations. When you radiate grace instead of force, you move through life with ease and elegance. When you let go of the need for approval, you become free. When you cultivate depth instead of just beauty, you become truly unforgettable. When you embody stillness and strength, you become unshakable. And when you serve something greater than yourself, you find real fulfillment. True value is not something you chase, it is something you cultivate within. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the right people, opportunities, and experiences naturally come to you. So stop seeking validation, stop trying to prove your worth. Instead, live with purpose, move with grace, and trust that who you are is already enough.